What up, though? This is Knockouts and Three Counts. But before we bring you another episode of Podcast Gold, let me tell you about the homies over at Michigan's Finest. Do you ever find yourself trying to get yourself together and thinking, man, this is going to be a great night, but I'm looking for that little extra something? Well, check out our friends at Michigan Finest. If you are into medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, concentrates, vapes, anything of that sort, Michigan's Finest has got you covered. And as you can see here, it's all easily done by their website. It's all curbside, and you'll be in and out in 2 minutes. And they're family owned and operated, so customer service is their number one goal. And now, since they are rocking with Knockouts and Three Counts, use the code KO3MF. Yes, that's KO3MF. You get 10% off your entire order, but that does exclude featured items and items that are already on sale. But if you use that code, you're getting 10% off your items, and I promise you, either if you're looking for that big knockout or you're ready to hit the sheets for that 3 count, Michigan's Finest will get you together. Tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you, and I promise you, you're going to be having a great night. Peace.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's a real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Well, the world is finally ending. Facebook's gonna die, Instagram's gonna die, and apparently half of y'all motherfuckers can't watch this shit anyway, but I haven't gone postal, so therefore there's a Knockouts and 3 Counts to speak of on another Tuesday night. Take 2, motherfuckers. Where's my damn, the thing on the set? Because Facebook's fucking up my flow, but yeah, dude. We had a lot of shit to talk about from last weekend. We were talking about UFC 280. There's a lot of stuff to come out of it. I mean, we've seen the massive jumps that have happened in the pound for pound rankings, you know, and I mean, as much as everybody might be hating the Shawn O'Malley stuff, the guy technically, whether you think he won or didn't win, beat the number one guy at 135. So for him to move up, you know, from 13 to 1 when you beat the number one guy, I mean, that kind of seems like apropos. But, I mean, like I said, whether I think he won or he didn't, the fact still remains in the win column. It says he beat the number one guy. Motherfucker needs to jump up the ranks because, and here's the other question. You know, O'Malley didn't seem so enthused about a title fight with Aljo next. He's talking about he wanted to watch the film and everything. I mean, like I said, I ain't mad at this dude at all.
If that's the route we're going, as we're talking, the money man himself, Sugar Shawn O'Malley, off the lead. Honestly, man, initial viewing, I was like, I don't know who won. I don't know who won. I was leaning towards Sugar just because I felt like he did do more damage throughout the fight. I felt like the takedowns weren't really anything impactful whatsoever, and I felt as though he was the one that challenged Peter Yan more, and Peter Yan just kind of had moments where he was trying to shoot the takedowns, and it just wasn't working as well as he thought it would, at least. I thought he was thinking maybe if he was able to get Shawn down that he was going to be able to hold him and, you know, pursue positions from there, but that was not the case. I wasn't necessarily surprised with the decision, but I definitely didn't know which way it was going to go. When you guys watched it, which way did you guys score it initially?
I'll let you go first, J-Bone.
I go first. I think it's all fucking bullshit. I'll be completely honest. I think Yan was robbed completely.
What's up, motherfuckers? I got a feeling that might not be Colton saying that, but Donald, it was good to see you, sir, if that's you on the other end of the YouTube.
I didn't read the name. I was like, wait a minute. No, dude. Yan was robbed. Let's be honest, dude. Come on. Any fight,
okay.
any fight where a guy takes a guy down, whether he gets back up or not, takes a guy down 6 times to 0. Cage control time, whatever the hell the stat was, for O'Malley was like 2 seconds going into the third round. Dude, by no means is that going to result in any type of split decision. I think what happened there is they're riding the money train. Hey, I'd do it if it was my business. Ride the money train, dude. It sucks for Jan, but O'Malley is not saying he didn't hold his own out there. He definitely looked good, especially in the striking. He looked very good. He looked like he should be, but it should have went that way in my opinion, dude. There's just no way. There's nothing in that fight that told me that Shawn O'Malley won that fight. Not for me anyway. And then the rankings thing, I also think that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Skipped over 11 other guys to get the number one, dude. And you fought the top. Yeah, you fought the top guy, and technically you beat him by definition and scorecards, whatever the fuck all that was. You won, but you also jumped 12 spots. That's unheard of, dude.
But I mean, let's be honest though. Like
versus Gilbert Burns, he beat Gilbert Burns, right? More decisive than that.
But I mean, to be fair, whether you thought he won the fight or he didn't win the fight, the fact still remains that in the fucking record book, it says he beat the number one contender. So very much less than him moving up to number one would be a travesty in the other way, because let's say it would be.
No.
Maybe not to number one, but if you say that motherfucker ain't number two or number three.
That's maybe put him in the top five for sure. I would be totally fine.
Top five? He beat the number one.
I'd be fine if he's at number two, but the fact of the matter, you're riding the fucking money cow here, and that's completely clear and evident. If anybody says otherwise,
I'm not saying that it's not evident that that's what the fuck they're doing.
No, it's a disrespect to every other fighter that's put in the work. It's a disrespect to the division, if you ask me. Listen, I'm not
okay.
Shawn O'Malley, but that was not how that should have went down, and he definitely shouldn't have jumped that high in the rankings. There's no way.
Yeah, with it being such a close fight, I felt like that should have been represented more in the rankings thing. And then B, to kind of steal it from a more similar sport from where UFC had kind of borrowed their ranking systems to begin with. Look at college football, right? Like, look at Tennessee just beat Alabama, 2 weeks ago or something? Alabama was number one in the country. Tennessee jumped to 4 or 3.
Spots.
Yeah. So you showed that you were in contention to be one of the best by beating one of the best, but it's not like you went in there and beat the actual champion themselves. You beat one of the other top contenders.
Here's the thing, though,
and it was extremely close fight.
Any other time, I would agree with you 110%. But here's why I disagree with you: the fact that Dana White came out before the fight and said on multiple occasions, the winner of Jan and O'Malley will be the next one to fight for the title at 135. If I was Shawn O'Malley, even if I in my heart of hearts didn't fucking think I won that fight, guess what? You told me I get a fucking title shot if I win. So you know what? Fuck you. Give me my title shot. Like, I totally respect everything you're saying, but if I were in Shawn O'Malley's spot, I'll tell you right the fuck now. First of all, I would have taken that fight, and second of all, if you said before the fight in public forum in multiple places, which he did, that he's gonna get the winner of this is getting the next title shot. Hey, what's the thing that we talk about in this motherfucker all the time? If you don't want to lose, you shouldn't have let it go to the judges. And if Jan is so much better than O'Malley, which I'm not saying he didn't win the fight, but if he's so much better than O'Malley, then why the fuck did you go to decision with him, much less a split decision with him?
I mean, I'm
just saying.
You can't control the.
No, you cannot control the way the judges judge. But what I'm saying is, everybody that's argument is, oh my God, Petr Yan is so much better than him and all this shit. Well, if he's so much better than him, then how come the kid went 3 rounds with him? And how come he did 3 rounds and kept it close enough to the point where we're even having this fucking argument?
Where's Jan's ranking at now?
He's number 2.
So he didn't fall to 12.
No, he didn't. No, he would have only fallen 1 spot. The only reason O'Malley jumped like that was because he was so much farther down. Jan didn't drop that far, but again,
with all due respect, I don't like it. That's just.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that when I saw that, part of me wasn't like, "What the fuck?" But more of me was like, "What the fuck? I should have won $500." But
while we're on the topic of rankings, though, like how they did with the pound for pound, I agree. Islam deserved to move his way into that list in one form or fashion, but to immediately jump up to, I believe it was number 3 or something along those
I got
lines.
no problem
Yet
with him
again,
being a number 3 at all.
number 3.
I have no
Number
dude.
3?
Who the fuck else at 155 is even going to give him a fucking threat right now? And here's a
Okay.
better one. Not only how he did it, he fucking submitted the best submission fighter of all time.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you would have.
But
You're
I
telling me
feel
that you would have bet that before the fight that he was going to submit Oliveira?
No.
Because if you say he was, you're a fucking liar.
No, I had said that going into it, that I thought that was the biggest advantage for Oliveira.
Exactly my point. So the fact that he won like that,
the advantage.
the fact that he won like that gives him even more merit to me. And I wanted Oliveira to win. Oliveira to win. But if I'm being honest, he submitted. Granted, he fucking hurt him before that, but still, like, he fucking submitted the arguably the greatest jiu-jitsu fighter of all time. Like, what is there to say? Like, he fucking mauled him. Anybody that said that they thought he was just going to come in there and maul that motherfucker, you're a liar. You're a liar. Especially with the fact that the only place that I thought he might have half a chance would be if he could tangle him up in a submission or maybe on the stand-up, but he cracked him in the stand-up and then submitted him.
Pretty impressive.
I mean, like I said, I'm not saying he should jump right to number 1, and I don't think that's the case.
I definitely put some money on Makachev to win by submission, and I won. So, but I didn't think it was gonna happen. Just saying.
You did that by the skin of your ass, is what happened.
Yeah, absolutely, totally did. I'm like, hey, here's my bets that I've had all day. Let me just do the opposite of what I think.
Of course, when I bet on him to win by fucking finish.
Listen, I had a couple other bets placed on the same fight.
Look, I would have won $500 had I just listened to my gut after all you sons of bitches are you sure? Are you sure? And the 3 motherfuckers that I said here on this show, all 3 of them bitches won. All of them. That whole parlay would have hit, and I would have been $500 richer.
That's why you never trust your gut when it comes
to
That's why I should have trusted my gut, not you motherfuckers. That's what happened.
Are you crazy?
No, I changed my mind after we did the show and made it different, and that's what fucked me over.
That's where you fucked up. That's where you fucked up, man. I just realized what shirt you had on. That's dope. But yeah, crazy turn of events. What a card, though. I mean, I enjoyed it. Kyle, I know you said you don't like the 2 o'clock fights, but I was down with it.
I don't like it because I gotta be at work. What the fuck? Like, I don't. Fuck that. I want.
Nice little
understandably
Saturday.
so.
I mean, it's all good. I feel your pain on it. I know.
I don't like that shit. Like, honestly, I would, even if I didn't have to work, I would much rather watch fights at nighttime.
Yeah, I understand their.
I'm not mad at it. Like, I understand why they did it, and I'm not mad at it. It's a nice change of pace. But I've always said I don't like the England cards for the same fucking reason. I like that they go over there, but I hate it because I can't ever watch it on when it happens. This time I actually got to watch it on time, but that was only because I was too busy shitting my brains out. But that's a story for another time.
Oh boy!
To float right on past that one, I feel like the unsung hero of this whole thing, though, right? Because there's so much noise about the Shawn fight. There's so much talk about Islam being the next guy and stuff like that. And Kyle, you even brought it up. Who's gonna even give him a chance at 155? I feel like Beneil Dariush, the unsung.
I agree.
hero
I'm not
tonight.
saying he doesn't have fights. Like, don't mistake what I'm saying. But I'm saying as far as why he moved up in the pound for pound rankings, though, because
I'm just using that as an example to lead into my main point, which was Beneil Dariush put on an incredible fight against Mateus Gamrot. I was really, really thoroughly impressed with it. I know it was a decision, and Beneil's
dude, Beneil looked great in every fucking facet of fighting, from takedown defense to his striking to him putting him on his back. And Gamrot couldn't never do shit throughout the whole fight. His best round he looked okay was round 1, and then round 2 and 3, Beneil won both of those rounds handily. Like, look, dude, Beneil Dariush did as much as anybody else on that card could have done for themselves as far as to making a case for the guy to fight for the title. The problem is because they don't necessarily view him as the most entertaining guy they're not. They probably are going to fuck around giving him a title shot.
Yeah, and
But
you could just see that it was in the cards immediately when Volkanovski was kind of inserted himself into the mix, and the UFC played ball immediately. And not saying necessarily that this is a terrible matchup or anything like that. I am kind of excited for Volkanovski to move up and see what how that matchup plays out. But I feel like that's an incredibly tough matchup. I feel like Beneil has more earned the shot. The fact that he has, I believe, an 8-fight win streak in the division. I feel like it should have been his. I like the whole Volkanovski thing, but you could just tell immediately from the whole backup fighter situation and everything, win, lose, or draw, Beneil was going to get fucked coming out of this, and unless he just did something truly incredible with like a first round spinning back fist, besides doing something along those lines, which of course we seen was not the case. He just put on a thorough, beat down winning. And you could just see it was already laid out in front of you. And I feel bad for the guy. I really do.
I mean, like I said, dude, I stick by what I said. Like, Dariush did the most of what he could do for anyone could have done for themselves in the given situation. But again, because he doesn't talk a lot of shit, I feel like it's going to be a problem. And we already know that Volkanovski was the thing, and that was something that past guest of the show, Jimmy Smith, pointed out earlier this week, and I think is very poignant. Like, let's be honest. Like, Beneil Dariush said that his management told him he was a lock to fight for the title. And Volkanovski said straight, the UFC told me that I'm fighting for the title next. Right. Big difference. Yeah. And look what happened. Who was in the cage with him after that? So I'm just saying, I think at the end of the day, it boils down to who they think is going to make the most money. And they think that's the thing with Volkanovski. I mean, let's call it what it is. That's probably the more appealing fight, if that's
it's definitely the more lucrative. Definitely the
right,
more money
and so ultimately we know that's what Dana wants to do. Hey, everybody that's joining in, if you guys are watching on YouTube or if Facebook's decided to not fuck itself up, make sure you check out our sponsors and all that good shit. Share this motherfucker and hit like so more people can see it, since Facebook again totally took a shit. But yeah,
force somebody to watch the show. Force them.
Yes, please do so. Do them like, dude, you know what they should do? I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. I was watching that new Chucky show, and they like had this motherfucker's eyes like held open with like bobby pins, and then they taped him to the chair and then taped the phone in front of him. Now, I would like to think that knockouts and 3 counts wouldn't make you yak at the phone like it did to Chucky, but that's just one way of making it happen.
But Kyle does not reflect on the rest of us.
I know, right? Do them Chucky style, dude.
Completely torture your friends to watch knockouts and 3 counts, but just force them. Just turn it on and say, "Hey, you're not leaving until you watch this." So, yeah.
Now, what you do is you say, "Hey, man, my phone's dead. Can I use your phone for a half a second?" Then you just pull up their YouTube, hit subscribe.
Hell yeah, yes, and that's what I'm talking
about. Press play on our newest video, and then hand them the phone back and say, "Oh, I'm good. I got what I need."
Right. And, to kind of go off the theme that we were talking about, you're talking about the money fight. Get your money together with the homies at G3, payroll and tax, and tell them Knockouts and 3 Count sent you. I mean, it's almost time for tax season. I mean, trust me, I would know for as many of you guys that are mailing your fucking taxes out. But with that being said, you don't want to see the guy that J-Bone just showed in his screen show up at your screen. So I'm just saying, we know who he is the father of. And I mean, hey, Bray Wyatt scares the shit out of me too. So get your taxes together and do it with G3 and tell them we sent you. But anyways, yeah, speaking of the money fights, I've heard a narrative brought up as far as the 135 title fight. First of all, total sidebar, do you think TJ Dillashaw was an asshole for taking this fight knowing that his shoulder was fucked up?
Personally, yes. Understanding his situation, no, if that makes any sense. I feel like from a viewer's standpoint, from my standpoint of the person that just spent $80 to watch a pay-per-view by myself, yeah, I was a little pissed off that within the first, minute and a half, basically when Aljo shot the first takedown, his shoulder was already out. I mean, yeah, I was a little disappointed. And I feel like that was probably the appropriate word. I wasn't necessarily like pissed off. I was just disappointed in the fact that, like, you know, like the freak injuries happen, right? Like we went on that string of it late last year where a bunch of the main events were ending. Like it was like 3 main events in a row were all like eye pokes and groin shots and, you know, DQ, you know, like no contests and stuff along that lines. And I don't know, man. It hurt my feelings, I guess. I don't know how to word it right. What were your guys' thoughts on that one?
I mean, do I wish the fight would have went better? To be honest with you, more than anything, I felt bad for Aljo more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to TJ Dillashaw. I mean, but at the end of the day, we all know the risk that you take when you step in a cage. But I say I felt more bad for Aljo because once again, look, I will say this every time we do this show until I stop doing this show. In that, look, bro, when we get in a cage or a ring or whatever, you are taught from day one, you hit a motherfucker until the referee gets in the way. And you know what? If you were hurt when you got in the cage with me, guess what? That's your fault. Like, don't get me wrong. Do you feel bad? Do you feel bad for somebody as a competitor? Sure. But if I'm fighting you and I know your shoulder's out, I would kick his fucking arm every chance I got. And you could say it's dirty. You can say it's underhanded. You can say it's whatever. We are in a fucking fist fight.
Yep.
We are in a fist fight. All right.
Your goal is literally to make me unconscious. If you're worried about me targeting an injury, then you're in the wrong sport. That's for sure.
No, and I agree 100% with what Donald said. If I were TJ Dillashaw, you're damn right I would have still done that fight if I could have gotten in the cage. Because not only are you hurt, imagine if you don't get in the cage. So now you did that whole ass camp, and you already know you're fucked up, and now you're not going to get paid.
Mm-hmm. Coming off of the USADA thing. Then fighting Corey.
I'm not mad at TJ Dillashaw for doing it, but
then having your knee go out and then having to take another year off. So now he's in his last 4 years of his career. He's had 3 years of those be complete layoffs because even after he came back from his USADA,
he beat Sandhagen and got hurt.
Yeah, but that matchup wasn't made for like another 6 months after his suspension was up. It wasn't like he was immediately active following the suspension. So that being said, he was.
Damn it, he beat me to it. See, I told you, man, it hurts motherfuckers' feelings that Corey don't show up to shows, but I'm just saying.
I was down at a family trip in Tennessee. I don't feel one bit bad at the time of my life.
We're gonna have a whole outing built around Corey one of these days. He's like these days.
But man, I don't know.
Donald's got him flustered.
Yeah, it did. It brought me all on my point because my real point in all of this is it sucks for Aljamain Sterling because I feel like what it boils into now is people are still doubting his reign as champion, whether it's legitimate or not, because the whole Petr Yan thing, how he got the belt initially, people gave him the credit for the decision victory, but even then some people are like, he didn't really win that fight. Petr Yan should have won that fight. And, I've seen it by quite a few people at this point. And now your next title defense in a fight that it looked like before the shoulder came out. I mean, I know TJ in the back of his mind was knowing that this was going to be an issue and stuff, but even before that took place, it looked like Aljamain was going to do what he does to people. He looked like he was about to ground him out, take the back, and do what he did, and it just looked like it was a little bit easier to do because of the shoulder injury. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
No, man, I agree 100%. I think that's really the story coming out of that fight is the fact that Aljamain's still going to catch shit for this, even though he's won again. That's why, that kind of leads into my next question. I mean, so a lot of people have been asking, like, what do you think it's going to take for Aljamain to be able to get his full respect as a champion? I think at this point, to be honest, the only way he's going to get his respect, if I were Aljamain Sterling, I would push to fight Henry Cejudo next. And if if you can get through Henry Cejudo, then you fight Shawn O'Malley next.
Yep.
And if he
fight the most legitimate contender that you can get, and then fight the fan favorite.
No, but there's a reason that I said them two in particular. He beats Henry Cejudo. Now you've beaten the double champion and the guy who had the championship and never lost it. And if he beats Sean O'Malley's the guy that beat Petrion, and he already beat Petrion too. So now what's your excuse? You lost O'Malley and I beat O'Malley. So now what?
Yep.
I agree.
That's
the only way I really kind of see it that way. And you can say whatever you want about how Sean O'Malley won, if you think he won, if you think he didn't win, whatever your case. But if Aljo goes and fucks up Cejudo and then goes in and beats Sean O'Malley too, there's really nothing else you can say. And I mean, look, I'm not saying nothing because I won $150 because he won by that DQ. But I'm just saying that, look, dude, I don't blame the guy for being pissed because ultimately he got kneed in the head while he was on the ground. Petrion knew what the fuck he was doing, and he still beat the guy, and the guy still got shit. So, I mean, at this point, I mean, fans can say he's an asshole. I heard people saying earlier that they think, he's, not well spoken and he's, this and that and the other. Dude, like, he won the championship. Okay, maybe it was warranted off of the DQ thing, which I don't think it was. But then he went back and beat the guy.
Yep.
I mean, he went back and beat the guy. Then he went and beat the next consensus guy that was the 135-pound champ that never lost the belt because of that. Now, granted, was his arm fucked up? Sure, but that's more on TJ Dillashaw than it is him. Because, like I said, again, if we are in a fist fight, I will take your fucking arm off and beat you over the fucking head with it. Like, I'm just saying. Like, if your arm's hanging out of that bitch, do we just, I mean, I'm just saying.
Kyle, I feel like Kyle should not. First of all, let's never let Kyle fight in a sanctioned fight.
Kyle is vicious, right?
Kyle should have been in, like, the movie Gladiator.
Corey saw me fight in a sanctioned fight, so
Kyle is the type that will literally cut off a limb to beat you with it. So I don't think that.
Look, dude, I'm not trying to say I'm like some cannibal or something. I'm just saying I was always raised from the school. You fucking
beating somebody over the head with their own limb and then taking a bite out of it are two different things, Kyle. We didn't call you.
Tonight you have already said.
Yo, what up, though, Joey? Look, am I wrong for saying that? Look, TJ Dillashaw's arm was broke. If I were Aljamain, I would have beat him over the head with it. Like, damn it, we're winning by any means necessary in this mug. Because guess what? That means we're getting 3 checks, homeboy. 3 checks. Not 1, not 2, but 3 checks. I want 3 of them bitches. Just like Josh Fremd is hopefully going to get this Saturday against Trayshawn Gore. But I'm just saying, fuck, I want to get paid. If I'm Aljo, you know what, damn it, dude, if they would have let that fight keep going and they'd have went back on the feet, you're telling me you wouldn't have kicked him in the arm?
He was already throwing kicks directly at the shoulder. It wasn't even head
That's
kicks.
my point.
It was literally shoulder kicks. And I appreciated the shit out of it. I really did.
Dude,
normally
everyone that wants to say it's dirty has fucking never been in a fight before in your life.
Especially a championship level fight, right? Like there's no more higher stakes than that, right? Like you see all the time these people get injured in fights and stuff, right? Like whether it be they're not walking right on their foot, their arm dislocation or something like that, and you rarely ever see the other fighter target it. It seems like they're almost oblivious to it more often than not. It seems like they just don't notice it. And
the problem is they do realize how savage it was, Joey, and that's why UFC is never going to be able to be on the same plane as boxing because those motherfuckers said that it was cockfighting, remember?
Yeah, that's exactly the issue too. But my big thing in to your point, Kyle, the match is already being rumored to take place in Perth, Australia, is Aljamain Sterling versus Henry Cejudo, February. So I really like the matchup. I really do hope that's what it ends up taking place. I've been calling basically ever since Henry Cejudo's been saying I'm coming out of retirement again. I was calling for the Volkanovski fight. I had mentioned it plenty of times here on the show. I know he was the one calling that fight out initially, but
Wait, so you're saying for Volk to fight at 135? That's what you're saying?
no, Henry Cejudo wanted to come back at 145 and fight Volkanovski, and that was the initial push that he was making once he was coming out of retirement. As I'm coming back at 145 and I'm taking on Volkanovski. And then basically the whole thing came up, well, Dana White's not going to give him a title shot straight off of his return because of the way he left with the belt and yada yada. Well, turns out he is going to. It's just he only wants to do it at 135 for some reason. And I feel like Aljamain Sterling might be on to something a little bit with the fact that he said, it's funny, it's interesting how they will do that matchup in my division because they don't necessarily want me to be champion, but they wouldn't do that at 145. I feel like maybe he is onto a little bit of something there.
Well,
But,
I definitely would say that it's a fair statement to say that Aljamain maybe hasn't gotten like the fair champion treatment. Like, I don't think that that's, I don't think that that's something that's too far out of the range. But the problem is, you got to remember, all the fans shit all over him so bad because of how he won the title that now he's basically going to have to like overachieve in order to ever be at like even a fair standing with, I mean,
that's exactly what it is. Overachieve. He's got to overachieve against all these top level
I mean, that's what it is. Because they're going to, until like he's going to have to keep winning a few more fights and hopefully even that does it. But unfortunately, with that being the way that he won the title, you look, we talk about this all the time. You've got too many MMA fans or so-called MMA fans that don't really know what they're talking about, and they're just going to see it for face value, which is why, I would argue that I wish there was more legitimacy to the UFC rankings so that at least that way, if somebody's ranked X in here, well, they're really ranked X, and it's not, and the matchups weren't so like number 10 versus number 2 and shit. But that again, I mean, even with Shawn O'Malley, the same way, people are talking shit about Cejudo stepping back in. If I'm Shawn O'Malley and I'm ranked number fucking 13 and you're telling me you're going to give me number 2, technically number 1, just from a money standpoint, why the fuck wouldn't I do that?
Yeah, it only makes sense.
I mean, that's my whole thing. Like, that's what I don't understand with fight fans. Like, you're mad at a guy for taking a fight that's going to be a lot more money. I'd almost be willing to bet you that he made more money for that fight than he was fighting the guys that were at the bottom of the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Much less, if you lose, you were supposed to lose to that guy. If you win, like he did, now look what we're talking about. Shawn O'Malley's automatically in the title picture, and it's because he bet on himself. So say whatever the fuck you want. But again, if anything, this is only highlighting that the UFC's rankings are what they are. Another example of that is what we saw with fucking Bilal Muhammad, who that's the best I've seen Bilal Muhammad look, pretty much, period. That Dagestan crush of the wrestling worked wonders for Bilal. Shout out to Shane Taylor. He was going nuts once I told him what happened. But yeah, we need to put some respect on Bilal's name after that. I don't know. I really don't even know who to say would be the next even right opponent for him next after this, just because of the way that we saw the rankings go up, because he moved up to like number 4 or something. So I don't really know who you have him go against that he hasn't already beaten.
The only fight that makes sense to me is Gilbert Burns, just basically ranked on where his placement is in rankings. I feel like, you're looking at a win-loss, somebody coming off a win, somebody coming off a loss. They don't usually match those guys up, but based on rankings, I feel like that would be the most.
Hey, we've seen them give a lot of people coming off a loss a fucking title shot lately, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, good point, but
I'm just saying that's not the way that should ever work, ever.
But here we are, nonetheless, and I feel like Bilal Muhammad has definitely earned his spot. I mean, he even before this fight, I feel like, all right, both guys, I believe they pronounce them a little bit different, but Bilal and Bilal, or however you say them, but both the Bilals going into this one Muhammad, they both got screwed, really, right? They both got screwed into this one. Beneil got screwed because he took on a lesser ranked fighter who was already.
I just
in
want you to
spot.
know that those are not spelled even close to the same. But
Yeah,
they're not even
I know they're
close.
not
But
spelled,
continue.
They sound very close, don't they? Am I wrong? Benal, like they're very
There's no
close.
null in Bilal, but okay.
Yeah. All right. Either way, point misproven, but the fight analyst is still. God, you fucked me all up on that. Thanks.
I couldn't help it because I was like trying to think about this. I'm like, they're not even close.
Well, my point was
He was so confident in it too. He was like, Bilal, Beneil, they're close. I'm like, they're not close at all, but okay.
I got your point. I know where you're going.
I got your point, but
close enough.
It was too big of a softball.
What I'm saying in this one is both guys were already in the title contention, in my opinion. Both guys were already one fight away, and now I feel like they're still one fight away. I feel like Bilal Muhammad's going to have to still fight somebody in the top 5, and I feel like Beneil Dariush is still going to have to fight somebody in the top 5, and they're not going to all of a sudden have this title fight on the horizon because they had to basically take a step down in the rankings to stay active. And it's unfortunate for both guys, and I feel like especially Muhammad in this circumstance because
I appreciate that, kind sir. Tell a fucking friend, share him, like him, all that shit.
But it was truly a next level performance for Muhammad. I'm excited to see what the next matchup brings. That being said, I feel like Burns makes the most sense, but we'll see who they do.
I completely agree with everything you just said. Like, both guys should get another spot, but that being said, I don't think there's any way they're going to put Bilal in the fucking title shot next, especially since they've already basically said that it's going to be Kamaru and fucking Leon Edwards again, and they already said that Hamzat is going to fight
Colby.
Yes. Now that'd be funny if Hamzat just goes in there and mauls Colby Covington, because if he goes in there and mauls Colby Covington, what is there left for Colby Covington to do at 170 at this point? You can't get over the hump of Kamaru Usman. If Hamzat goes in there and mauls Colby, what's Colby gonna do? Because you don't get a title shot after that. Yeah. You're gonna have to fight down, and on top of dude, if this might, I mean, it's a little early to say this, but if that's the next fight, this is a must win for Colby Covington, or he might be dead in the water at 170.
At least at 170, but not his title aspirations and not his potential future in the UFC and all that type of stuff, because I feel like he is still a very high level fighter, no matter if he was to make the move up to 185 or
I think he's too small at 185.
Well, he's even said that he doesn't cut any weight, and he said if he wanted to, he could easily make 155. He said
that interests the fuck out of me. That I think is very interesting. If that ends up being the move that comes out of it, I think 55 is much more entertaining out of that. 185, I think he gets fucking mauled at 185.
Considering his size at 185, dude, I don't know about that.
Dude.
But the thing is he's such a better wrestler than all those guys.
Sure, but so is fucking Whitaker. But do you really think that Whitaker? I mean, if Whitaker can't get past Izzy,
and because of the size disadvantage, being a former 170 pounder.
My whole point. If Whitaker can't get past him, the only chance that Colby's got that's better than Whitaker is the fact that he probably wrestles better than Whitaker. But if he gets outsized and outbodied, Colby Covington's going to look like a punk at 185. Not saying that he doesn't have a chance, but he's not big for 170. If you put him at 185, he's going to be small.
Yeah, I know. And that's
I'm just saying. And I would almost
going off what he said.
And I would almost argue even more so that he's not going to have the same gas tank at 185 he's got at 170 either. Because if he goes to 85, he's going to have to pack some weight on.
a hell of a must-win fight though to have against this guy, man.
Dude, but is it not though?
It is.
At least if you want to make noise at 170, you basically have no fucking choice, but you have no choice but to. You have to win this. Otherwise, he's not. When does he fit in for another title shot?
Doesn't. That's just it.
I'm just saying, it's a must win.
Either way, I feel like if he does win that fight, he's going to be rooting hard for Leon Edwards, huh?
Yeah.
No matter.
Oh, no shit. He'd be dumb not to.
Even if he does lose that fight, he's going to be rooting hard for Leon Edwards.
Are you sure about that, though? Because are you sure a guy like Colby doesn't look at the fact that Kamaru got knocked the fuck out and go, oh, shit, he's beatable. I can get him because Colby landed on him like that. I could also see a cocky son of a bitch like Colby being like, all right, well, now there's a chink in the armor. Now I want to fight him again.
Yeah. I mean, you could absolutely be right, but I feel like the clearest way to the title would be Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington in that regard, because it would just be a fresh matchup and it would be a perfect defense. You know.
See, but Colby's got to win another fight though for him to be even considered at a title shot.
And that's where we're talking the Kazmat fight.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If Khamzat can actually make weight,
yeah, that's a good point.
Like if Khamzat actually can make weight and is worried more about his weight and not fighting motherfuckers in the crowd, then yeah, I think Khamzat's gonna give Colby a lot of fucking problems. But at this point, you know, don't get me wrong, skills wise, Khamzat is a fucking savage, okay? Period. Not arguing that at all. Purely off the guy's skills, I love watching that dude fight because he is nasty. But okay, let's see him make weight first. Right. I mean, I'm just saying, he won his last fight, looked damn good, but they had to shuffle a whole fucking UFC card for this guy.
Literally. And
like, again.
And then he ended up fighting a dream matchup in somebody in Kevin Holland, who literally.
I'm not mad at the fight.
He literally came into the UFC as a kung fu, like karate fighter, like who had decent submissions. That was like Kevin Holland's whole game. He got shown that wrestling was his biggest flaw, and then he takes on the newest, biggest, baddest wrestler in Kazmat Chimaev. So. He couldn't have been gifted a more easier matchup following the whole shift of the pay-per-view, to your point, Kyle.
Like I said, I think the fights that we got were better fights all around, but I'm just saying anyone that's on the Colby train, I'm not saying that Colby's not one of the top two guys, but in my opinion, if Colby loses this fucking fight, he's essentially dead in the water at 170. But,
he's going to have a tough time.
You know, we've talked plenty about MMA here. We will talk a little bit about UFC Vegas this week. As I mentioned, past guest of the show, Josh Fremd, is going to fight Trayshawn Gore this weekend. I know Josh might be listening to this. He was over there at the UFC PI getting ready for weigh-ins and all that stuff. Just got to Vegas today, so shout out to Josh Fremd. With that being said,
for both him and Dustin Jacoby's matchup, I know he had brought up basically team captain Justin Jacoby last interview we had him on. I'm excited for both of their fights going into this weekend. Sorry to interrupt, but I had to get that in there.
No, you're good, dude. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Josh Fremd fight. We got a question in the comments before I switch over to the wrestling end of things. Is there any hope for the Detroit Pistons this year, or are they still too young? Look, bro, I'll answer this quick and simple. So, do I think that there's a chance that we're gonna like win a championship or have like a long run in the playoffs right now? No, but do I think that the Pistons could easily like make some noise and shock a few motherfuckers? Yeah, I think so. Like, I definitely think that we've got the building blocks in place that if they continue to do well through drafting and who they can get, you know, like little pieces that they can add here and there in the offseason, I definitely think that the Pistons are definitely at a spot where they could definitely be building, building blocks to where they can be a legitimate contender. But if you're asking, do I think that they're going to win this year? I don't think that they're going to make it to like the finals or anything, but I definitely think that they could ruffle some feathers and make some noise.
Yeah, Unless Cade really gets some things going, I really my favorite Piston currently is Sadiq Bey. I feel like he's highly underrated and nobody really talks about how well he does for the team. But that being said, man, it hurts, man. It hurts me to watch because I genuinely, you know how people hype the Lions every year. This year's the year, right? Well, like I felt like we made those moves in the draft, to Kyle's point, over the last couple of years. I feel like Cade has made that progression through last year and kind of was now progressing into a higher, a true first round potential player, and to see the season kind of start out the way it has, very lackluster, and to see them kind of not really put their all into these games, it seems like it, at least last year, it seemed like they had that oomph, like they had that drive where even if they were gonna lose, they were gonna play their fucking dicks off to do it. I haven't seen that so far, and it hurts to see because, to your point, they're a bunch of young players, and I feel like that's what gave me positivity last year, is that we had these young players with that drive, and now I'm just not seeing that same type of motivation to win, at least currently. So we'll see as the season progresses, but as a Detroit sports fan, that the Pistons have been my favorite team now of all Detroit sports for probably 7-10 plus years at this point. I thought we were going to be doing a little bit better, and I hate to give this big analysis when it's like game 5, but
early, man.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Joey. You heard it here. We can talk more in wrestling and MMA.
I like your analysis on it. If we just play our dicks off, we got this. So play your dicks off.
Play your dick off. Kickstand it. But with that being said, I guess that means it's time to switch over to the wrestling end of things. And J-Bone, we got to give updates on any of you guys who are watching. Do you have any Halloween plans? What are you motherfuckers doing for Halloween? If you're going to be wearing anything because you got to take the kids out or whatever the case, I want to know, what are y'all motherfuckers wearing for Halloween? I know what I'm going to be, and I'll talk about that in a second. But J-Bone, Odale, I hear that there's some. I hear that there's some news on your Halloween front. I heard it might be a wolf pack in this bitch.
It could be. It just very well may be. We'll see. You're gonna have to tune in.
Follow us at KL3C Pod, and you'll see it.
You'll see it. It could be. I don't know how to even foreshadow that yet, but yeah, it's gonna be dope. It's going to be dope. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be dope. Kyle's better.
Anybody that wants to throw guesses in the comments, $5 if you figure it out. But with that.
Kyle's paying. I still got to get these shirts made. This is Kyle's paying and blame Kyle.
Well, fuck. Blame Kyle seems to be the mantra if you work at the post office lately, but I'll digress about that. But, yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to Halloween. It's going to be a damn good time. I got to eat a dog-ass caramel apple this weekend. Let me tell you, dude, it was a little too much caramel, but since I don't do them all the time, dude, it was almost like a heart attack on an apple.
That's all
I don't even know how, the caramel.
If I'm getting my caramel apple, I want it to be heart attack on an apple.
I mean, if you follow me at Detroit Knockout on Instagram, you can see I was very, very much so excited about this. Going to Wired, shout out to Wired's and Ipsy. Went out there with my nephew, so we took Tank out there. I was eating fucking donuts and trying to do my best Nigel Thornsberry, trying to dodge these fucking bees and shit. It was yeah, it was something, man. You didn't know apple cider attracts the fucking bees. I was not not a fucking fan of it. And since we were at an apple orchard, go figure, wasn't really a whole lot of places you could go that you were going to be far away from said bees. So I just wanted to enjoy my donuts and the fucking apple cider in peace. But them some bitches didn't want to let me. But what I did get to enjoy was GCW Drop Dead, dude. First of all, shout out to Uncle Chase. Shout out to MM3. I definitely might have to bring MM3 back on. It's been quite a while. Shout out to Tommy Vendetta. I'm seeing his name everywhere. And to the guy who commented on the clip of him getting thrown off the stage at Harpos. It's no different than people getting thrown off the fucking crow's nest at the ECW arena or anywhere else. So lighten up, asshole. You could have been there too. But anyways.
What was
let me see
was
some.
it
Let me
that
see you
serious?
guys take one of those bumps off the stage like Tommy did. That was insane.
Unless you're Uncle Ned, I don't want to see you take another fucking bump by the scaffold again.
Let's not do that. And then, not to mention, you turn around and there's Tommy Vendetta pretty much just walking through the crowd like, hey, I'm okay.
What's good, bro? He threw me off the stage. I got up. I'm all right.
Fell 12 feet. No big deal.
Yeah, the guy only fucking press slammed me over his head and then tossed me off the fucking stage back first through a door. But and the door didn't break, ladies and gentlemen, just for the record. But yeah. It was a great landing. Great visual, but I bet you it hurt like a son of a bitch. Just saying.
How was the lovely GCW festivities at Harpos?
Rocked, dude. Rocked. It was a great time as usual. I had a blast. Me and Donald cruising down there, man. That was GCW always puts on a good show, dude. Always. The matches are always good. And on this one especially, the Michigan boys showed out, dude. So,
hell yeah, Uncle Chase and MM3 versus Bussy in this bitch. It was getting down, dude. Fucking Alley Catch and Effie came out, and Uncle Chase and fucking MM3 showed what time it is for Detroit, man.
Yeah.
Uncle Chase was lip locking with Effie and shit, and like MM3.
With everybody,
I know, fuck. Effie's over here full on lip locking MM3 and Uncle Chase. He was liking him some Detroit boys, but I mean, hey, I digress. I don't know, J-Bone, what do you think?
Hey, man, it was a good time. Like I said, GCW. I've never had a bad time at GCW, man. So a lot of cool faces there, a lot of known faces that we see around. So, like I said, got to hang out with Donald. Donald showed up, rode with me down there. That was a fun time. Uncle Chase, like I said, showed out, and we hung out afterward in the crowd and stuff, man. Great time, dude. Can't complain. GCW always puts on a great show.
Except we didn't get the announcement, unless I missed it. Like, Donald, did I miss it, or was there no announcement?
It said that there was something for the collective. I can't remember. DDT was coming to the collective.
Oh, so that's the announcement?
I believe that's what it was. So I think we were expecting something with WWE, were we not?
Well, the way all I saw on the internet, I mean.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad at it because ring the bell. I'm going to be in L.A. It's going to be a damn good time, and I am looking forward to that shit. There's the bell. I'm going to be in that bitch in L.A. Let me tell you, WrestleCon Hotel's not cheap, so if you want to cash at me, feel free to. Yeah. But GCW is a good time. Definitely enjoyed the shit out of it. I have to say, my favorite match. So Uncle Chase and them might have stole the show, but dude, that fucking tag team match for the GCW tag team titles.
Oh, yes.
Holy shit!
Violent, wild, entertaining.
Violent.
Oh,
Violent is an understatement. When a man gets superplexed through two doors and a fucking pane of glass, and then simultaneously, as he goes through said doors, gets splashed from a guy from the opposite fucking corner. I mean, dude. That was like when they tried to kill Jimmy King and Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, exactly like that. No, that was a great match. One of my favorite matches though was the 4-way with Gringo Loco. It was
past guest of the show, Gringo.
That was a good match. That was fun to watch. Lucha Libre at its finest right there.
Shout out to Gringo Loco and Joey Janela and Cologne making a fucking impact at Triple Mania in over there in Mexico with our boy El Rudo de las Chicas, Sam Adonis. But man, did they beat the shit out of Vikingo. Like, damn, this man is over here trying to do his post-match interview, and man, they fucking hopped on this man, just gave him the boots, bro. Like, you'd have thought he took somebody's lunch money, but damn. So shout out to that was the announcement. DDT coming to the collective. Hey, Japan is coming to the States, so if you're in the area, there's probably a good chance that I might be in that bitch. So if you're coming down to LA, you need to tell me what time it is, what's good, and let me know where you're at. But with that being said, I think all in all, like you said, I think GCW was a pretty great night, I would say. Let's see. Wow. Dude, yes. The ropes and turnbuckles.
So
I thought Jordan Oliver was going to kill himself, but just saying. J-Bone, do you have any thoughts on the ropes and the turnbuckles?
I noticed MM3 had to fix the turnbuckle pad like 3 times. But he's standing in the corner, just kept falling off. I'm like,
well, dude, I mean, I don't know if you noticed when Oliver went to hit that last cutter for his finish, they had to try it 3 times because the fucking corner kept giving out.
Yeah. Something's got to be, some screws got to be tightened. Literally.
Hey, sometimes it'd be like that.
Sometimes
it'd be like that. You got to just twist it a little harder.
Well,
twist it a little harder.
I do remember at one of the shows we were at for GCW in particular, they had where it looked like the back half of the turnbuckle had just ripped apart, where the strings and everything go around to tie it actually off. Seemed like that had just ripped apart. So I don't know if maybe they're just buying, not the quality of materials or something. But, I do remember that actually being a thing at one of the shows we went to. I don't remember which one, that being said, but I do definitely remember that being a thing.
Well, GCW is using somebody else's ring, but still, like I said, it was noticeable enough to where I thought that too. But I would be remiss before we get off of GCW, dude. Tommy Vendetta fucking did the damn thing with Shane Mercer. I would argue that Tommy Vendetta probably, along with what Donald said, I think Donald hit the nail on the head. I think, let's be honest, dude. I think Tommy probably had the biggest pop in Harpos that night. And him and Mercer, if you've not watched Shane Mercer yet, I definitely am going to reach out to Shane Mercer and see about getting him on the show. They call this guy the fucking super beast. And if you look at him, the guy looks like he's chiseled out of granite and can flip in ways that a guy that big shouldn't be able to flip. And him and Tommy fucking killed it. Shout out to Tommy. I think that was a coming out party for him. Like Donald said, Twitter was really blowing up after that match. I definitely think Tommy showed what time it is. It was kind of crazy because Tommy's mom was right behind us too, and she's yelling and cheering him on, telling him to fucking kill the guy. It gave me fond memories of when I used to box because I could always distinctly hear my mom out of any crowd ever because it's the truth. I mean, my mom, my mom was always right up in there. I could hear her over my coaches, so I thought that was I always thought that was a pretty cool touch. So definitely shout out to Tommy Vendetta. Maybe we'll have to get Tommy Vendetta back on here soon and have to hear what D-Mac thought of that match too. Shout out to Hoodfoot as well. You mentioned Hoodfoot. Hoodfoot is definitely somebody I always enjoy seeing, and I would like to see make his way to a show here soon. Another past guest of the show is going to be making his way to RPW. Atticus Kogar is coming here to RPW. Definitely something that I feel I may need to be in the building for. Maybe Knockouts and 3 Counts might need to be a part of. But stay tuned for that too. With that being said, all right, dude. So we've talked about GCW. We've talked about UFC. We've talked about the fact that my freshly squeezed costume is going to win best costume in that son of a bitch. And it's just whatever. But with that being...
Will you please enter? Actually, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'm going to enter for you.
Fuck you, bitch. If I got to get entered, you better enter too.
You're going to be in the candy eating contest.
No. I'm not trying to blow chunks like old girl. No.
I already signed you up.
Nope. I watched that chick. She was throwing up and was so hot and hyperventilating that she was her fucking face was leaking. And it looked like she was gonna pass out and fucking throw up and have an exorcist type puke. Yeah, and then she's eating her own hair while she was throwing up. It wasn't a good time.
Actually, horrible to think about. Anyway.
It was funny to watch from the down the way, but definitely not something that I would like to do. Although I might be able to win that. If we're eating candy, I might be able to do okay. I don't eat candy very.
I was wondering that, like, you didn't really get to see what kind of candy it was. It was probably like really thick milk chocolate.
And that was what's bullshit. Corn. Yeah, dude. If it's candy corn or them nasty ass peanuts, no. I'm good on I'm good on both of those. Like, seriously, I'm straight on it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Cheapy Creepy. I'm looking forward to that this weekend. You know what else was really good this weekend? Fucking Halloween Havoc was badass, dude. Halloween Havoc was badass. Like, first of all, shout out to past guests of the show, Dave LaGreca, finally breaking them WWE doors down, and they wanted him on the pre-show for Halloween Havoc. So shout out to Dave. Like I said, Halloween Havoc kicked ass. I think from top to bottom, dude, I feel like pretty much everybody showed out. I like the fact that like the Alba Fire Mandy Rose thing kind of like took place throughout the whole show. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I'm totally happy with it, but I really didn't think that Wesley was gonna be the one to win the North American Championship, but I thought that was fucking sweet. Great banger of a match there too. Braun Breaker, JD McDonough, and Ilya Dragunov absolutely just fucking ripped the roof off the joint. It was dude, that torpedo headbutt that Dragunov does, like, dude, I every time I see him do it. Now, you talk about a move that when you see somebody hit it, you're like, damn, that looks like it sucks. That looks like it sucks because every time he does it, I'm just like, oh my God. If he hits him hard, like he gets him good head on head, this ain't it's not gonna end well. But on the other side, if we're talking about an impactful fucking finisher, dude, it's a fucking torpedo. You're fucked. Right. Like, I mean, you're really fucked. If you don't get out of the way, it's over with. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a big fan of that. But yeah, those dudes like ripped the roof off the place. But I'm not gonna lie, I really kind of thought that Braun Breaker might lose on this one because I thought that he might be going to the main roster. But again, Braun Breaker has retained the title. But again, that's another reason why what we've been seeing in NXT with so many of the bigger stars coming in has been so good, because now maybe you don't need to put Braun Breaker right to the main roster. But hey, dude, I liked that.
Remember, we were talking about that before because, like we said, you take him out of there, who's gonna be the face of NXT, man? And you need that. So,
can we just stop calling JD McDonough and just go back to Jordan Devlin? Hey.
Yeah,
just saying. Can we do that?
That one. Hey, I did like the Mandy Rose thing though. Like you said, I
liked that it played out throughout the whole show.
Well,
like I like
the early '90s Halloween Havocs with
yes,
and the Black Scorpion stuff. Like I like that they do that with that. Halloween Havoc always been my favorite ones, man. So
Halloween Havoc's always been a banger, dude. I've always loved. I've always, like you said, I've always been a really big fan of Halloween Havoc. I'm also a big Halloween fan. Shotzi looked great in them costumes. I'm just throw that out there. Joker and Beetlejuice. It worked. It worked.
Spin the wheel, make the deal, man. The game.
And the coal miner's glove didn't get picked. Damn it.
Oh. Damn it. Yeah, pretty cool callback.
So what do you think they actually put in a coal miner's glove?
I don't know.
Do you think it's the fungus from the coal miner's part that makes it so dangerous?
Yeah, you just stick it over someone's face and just have them inhale.
I wonder if that's like when people use the big rubber gloves to clean the shitter. I wonder if that's the same thing.
We've been pretty dark on tonight's episode. There's been two separate occasions that Kyle talked about some pretty dark stuff. Remember earlier he was talking about torturing somebody with holding their eyes open to watch the show, and then he was going to rip a guy's limb off to beat him over the head with it. Like, that's horrible. And
hey, they try.
And now I feel hitting a man with fungus glove.
Your very own horror / Halloween themed
it is Halloween
episode. Kyle's just saying that brand. That's all.
I'm just trying to get my money's worth since I feel like I might not have for Halloween ends. All right, so I'm just trying to get my Halloween money's
That's
worth.
how I feel too. I feel like this October's gone by extremely quickly. I didn't get to do all the apple cider.
I got to do that Sunday with
stuff
Tank,
yet.
and I was stuffing my motherfucking face. Hell yeah. Cider and donuts is never a bad deal. So if any of you guys ever want to get me a gift or something, cider and donuts, it's not a bad idea. My fat ass will eat them, even if it's not right away. Yeah, dude. I don't know. That covers pretty much like most of the shit that went down as far as this weekend. But, dude, I mean, I guess as good a place as any, and I guess we're going to break it down on Thursday. But, you know, we've got the perfect person to help us do that. You know, I mean, I need Anderson Silva to turn into a savage and knock out fucking Jake Paul.
Save us, Spider.
Save us, Spider. We need the savage Spider. Well, we needed a savage. The savage gentleman, Victor Benjamin, will join us this Thursday. We had a good time talking with him the last time he was on the show. We're going to see if Butterfinger has sent us any more good shit and how many Butterfingers he's currently at as a total that they've eaten, you know, judging by how they're looking on Instagram. You know, I wouldn't say it's too many of them. But, you know, we'll have to talk about what he's been doing, facing Delirious and shit. You know, Delirious might try to choke you with a candy bar. And then, you know, Lady Frost is doing her thing over there in CMLL and Mexico and all that too. So there's plenty to talk about with him and get his picks on the fights. You know, him and Josh Frem know each other, so we'll have to see what he thinks about Mr. Frem's fight, being a fellow Pittsburgh guy, even though, fuck the Steelers. Yeah, Jimmy Smith, I said it, fuck the Steelers, even though my Lions ain't going to do nothing about it because, we suck. But you know what? Don't suck.
Lions fans, we can't talk no shit about it.
I can talk shit because I'm talking shit saying that my Lions would not be able to do shit about it. My Lions suck worse than them, and I will be the first person to say it. The Lions fucking suck. You heard it first on Knockouts and 3 Counts. I love the Lions.
Breaking news.
But they have broken my heart once again. But you know what won't break your heart? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button, and you'll have all the content that your heart desires. And if you follow us on social media, you'll even get to see me and J-Bone make asses of ourselves on Halloween. So if you want that good content, hit that motherfucking follow button. And until Thursday, peace.